Good evening, all of you. Welcome to GRE session. We'll start in a couple of minutes. We'll start in a few minutes. Am I audible? Can you please type in the chat box? Let me know. Okay, thank you. I hope this is your first class. This is your first class? Third class? Okay. Third class of verbal or what? Acha, this is your first class of verbal. All right. Great. So before we actually begin the classes, the content of the class, let me give you some basic details regarding your application, how you need to prepare, etc. Okay. My name is Srikanth. So I'm part of the national team of IMS-CIE. Now, if you look at this slide, you will understand that GRE score alone will not fetch you getting the admission into the university. Along with that, you need to look at various other things also. Okay? Like your SOP should be good, your recommendation letter should be good. Overall, your profile, how you build your profile, how you present your profile is very important during the admission. Okay. So for which you need to plan well in advance. Okay. Means along with your preparation for the examination, you also have to spend some time on the documents to be submitted along with your application. Some of the factors mentioned here are not in your hands. Something like GPA is already done. You can't do much about it. But some of the factors like SOP, your recommendation letters, and your GRE score, definitely you can make some difference by putting efforts to see that they are perfect. Okay. So make sure that your documents are talking about you in a good way and then presenting you in a better light. And then you are giving all your details, without missing even a single point, so that the admission committee can analyze how exposed you are to various activities and how good a person you are, and then take into consideration all your activities before they make a final decision. Which is why you have to make a note of all the activities you have done. Okay, however small it can be, remember all those things, and then put them on a piece of paper, record them, and then also start preparing the other documents. You can see that 30% of your admission depends on your score, and rest of the things also matter a lot. Okay, there should be a balance between these. And if you are looking at MS abroad, they look at your all-round performance rather than your performance only on your academics or only on the GRE. You got to be well-rounded personality. Okay, if you are a sportsman, that's going to be an added advantage for you. Okay. Now, coming to the structure of the examination. Now look at this. The first section is analytical writing, in which you have two parts. You have to write two essays. Okay. First essay is the normal essay. Okay now. Okay. Hello. How do you find it now? Give me a minute. Hello. Is it clear now? All right. So the first part is analytical writing, in which you have to write two essays. Each essay must be written within the time limit of 30 minutes. Okay. Which means overall you have to spend 1 hour on this section writing two essays. The first essay is quite normal one. Okay. You are given a topic. You have to present an essay of around 250 300 words. Okay. So something like, some general topics are given in the form of a statement. So you got to present an essay on that. The second essay is a little different. That is analysis of the argument. You are given an argument which has to be evaluated by you. You got to tell the validity of that argument by discussing the assumptions of the argument and also by weakening some of the negative assumptions of that argument. So that is another task that you have in the analytical writing part. So we will understand that analytical writing first essay and second essay when we discuss that. Okay. But the first section is about writing essays. Two essays you have to present 1 hour. After that, you have verbal reasoning section. You have two sections of verbal, which is English basically. Each section is for 30 minutes. Okay. So overall, you have to spend 1 hour for two sections. And then you have two sections of quant also, with 35 minutes for each section. Okay. So for how many sections? Two sections of analytical writing, half an hour each. Two sections of verbal, two sections of quantitative reasoning. Now it's all together 6 individual sections. Now one section will be unscored, which means it could be from verbal or quant. Okay. So this is unscored experimental section. Now you don't know which section goes towards your experimental section, which means there won't be any title for it to be recognized as experimental section. You have to do even all the sections with equal efficiency without any assumptions. Okay, don't assume that the last one is unscored or experimental section. It could be any section. You don't know. You can't identify that. So unidentified, unscored. That means the score does not go towards your actual GRE score. It is only for experimental basis, and you don't know which section is experimental. So you got to do that extra section also with equal efficiency, with equal focus. Okay? And finally, you have some research questions which touch upon your general aspects of your personality. There could be some questions of psychological testing also. Okay? So overall, you have how many sections? 7 sections. So let's see case 1. In case 1, you may have 2 verbal sections or 3 quant sections. Okay? Plus 2 analytical writing sections. Okay. Or case 2, you have 3 verbal sections and 2 quant sections. Could be any of these. Okay. So 2 verbal, 3 quant is one scenario. 3 verbal and 2 quant is another scenario, right? Next one. This is a section adaptive test. What is this section adaptive test? Let's understand that. So the first section given to you, either in quant or verbal, okay, will be of medium range of difficulty. It is a mixed section with easy, medium. A couple of questions could be difficult range also. Overall, it's a mixed section, which means you get questions of all levels of difficulty, mostly medium and easy questions. So if you did this particular section very well, let's say you have done it very well, then the next section will be at a difficult level. So the section you get, you have done the first section very well, the next section will be difficult, and your score also remains on the higher side, as you can see. If you have done the first section not so well and then you perform to average levels, then you get a mixed section or medium section again, and which means your score remains at an average level. And if you have done below average on the first section, you are going to get easier questions later on. Now in the later part, even if you did very well, your score will be remaining on the lower side. So remember, you have to do very well on the first section, and once you reach the second section, which is difficult level, you have to handle that difficult section properly in order to score high. So for those of you who can handle easy questions and medium questions, you have to work on the difficult questions also pretty well in order to score high. So this is section adaptive test. How you perform on the first section decides your level of difficulty of the next section. Okay, so this is section level adaptive. Within the section, the questions are not adaptive. Okay, so within the section, the questions are fixed. Okay, nothing changes. Once you answer the entire section, first section, go to the next section. The next section depends on the first section's performance. Okay, that is the adaptive feature on that. Okay. So your score also depends on how you perform on both these sections. Now remember these points important. All questions within a section carry equal weight, regardless of their difficulty levels, which means 1 point, 1 question, 1 point. So you have to balance the time and accuracy also. You have a mix of sentence completion, reading comprehension questions. So there are 20 questions to be answered in 30 minutes, which means you have around 1.5 minutes per question. So if this 1.5 minutes per question is applicable for reading comprehension questions also, which means you have to read a lot of information and answer the questions So you may feel that there is tremendous time pressure. So you have to work under the time pressure and improve your accuracy also on these questions. So if you practice a lot on these questions, sentence completion questions take not less than half minute to 45 seconds. Okay, so practice makes you reach that levels. So you can save time on the sentence completion question, and you can invest that time on the reading comprehension sections. Okay? So let us practice. Before we get to the content part, one more important point about the approach is we have these four aspects here. First one is build concepts. The first stage where you have pre-class and in-class books given to you. So in this pre-class, in-class books, you have questions, you have strategy, you have vocabulary builder, so all this. And then you have concept videos uploaded onto the site, and you can attend the classes. After you build the concept, you have to apply the concept onto the question, which you can do on the with the help of official guide. You practice questions from official guide and see that you are applying the concept that you have learned in the classes. And then you have GRE live classes, and you can access the live class recordings also anytime, anywhere. And then you have post-class books. After the completion of the classes, you have some exercises in the form of post-class books, which you can practice. And this must be followed by full-length tests, mock tests. There are 10 full-length online tests available where you can work out these questions and check yourself. There are power prep tests also. And there are live doubt solving sessions in the form of Telegram groups or WhatsApp groups, just Telegram groups. So 24/7, you can post your doubts in those groups and get your doubts solved. Okay? The doubt solving sessions happen live, and there are mentors available all the time. You can post your doubts onto those. Okay? Now, where can you access these videos? This is the site where you can access the full-length tests, recorded webinars, and concept videos. So with your credentials, your login credentials, login ID and password, you can access these videos, you can access these tests. Okay? Don't go for the tests initially. At a later stage, once you finish your classes, practice, that is the time when you have to take the test. Okay? Until that point, keep focusing on improving your strategy and improving your vocabulary. Okay? Now, these are the timings, weekdays and weekends. Okay. Now, let's begin the content. So, I want you to give the answers parallelly while you are listening to the class. We'll be working out questions, and parallelly, we'll also be learning some vocabulary, some techniques of solving the questions also. Okay. So, firstly, there are two types of questions. One is fill in the blanks type. The second one is reading comprehension type. Third, of course, there is a third variety of questions also on GRE, which is critical reasoning questions, which is more or less like reading comprehension. Okay. Except that they are logical oriented. Okay. Now, everything is based on logic, of course, but the nature of the question is the first type is fill in the blanks. It's called sentence completion question. Now, fill in the blanks, you have again many varieties. Fill in the blanks, one blank type, two blank type, three blank type, and one blank, two answers type, that is multiple answers type. You have four varieties of questions on sentence completion. Okay. And you have reading comprehension, in which again you have multiple answer type. For one question, you have to select more than one answer. And there are one answer type. That means for one question, you have 5 options and you must select only one answer. And there is one other type of reading comprehension question, which is selecting the sentence in the passage. As per the question asked, you have to select that particular sentence in the passage. So we learn them in the classes, these types of questions. Today we'll look at the sentence completion questions, all the types. Okay. So before we begin, I should actually tell you that the nature of two types of questions differ in another way. Sentence completion questions are vocabulary based, and reading comprehension questions, they are reading based, and critical reasoning questions, they are logic based. Okay. So text completion and sentence equivalence questions, they deal with lot many words. So I suggest all of you to pick something and then start reading vocabulary, which is very, very crucial to solve the questions of text completion and sentence equivalence. Okay. So we'll make an effort to teach you some words in the class, but you have to carry it forward by adding some more words from your own sources, and you have to expand your vocabulary at least by working on around 700 to 1000 words. You can group the words into families and then work on some 100 families. If you cover some 10-15 words under each family, more or less similar types of words are recurrent on this examination. So you don't get new types of words. Very rarely you get new types. Let us say paradoxical, contradictory, okay, iconoclastic. These kinds of words, once you note down under one family, you know very clearly that these are going to recur on the examination, as you can see from the questions that you're going to solve now. These words get repeated in the questions, and therefore if you read these 1000, 1500 or 1200 questions, 1200 words on a regular basis under some families, you are going to remember them under a particular family. The moment you look at the word, immediately recall that this belongs to a particular family. So that helps you in getting the vague recollection of the meaning of that particular word. So which is enough on GRE. Some people might argue that, sir, there is a subtle variation in the meaning of this word to that word. How can you differentiate this, that kind of? But you don't need that kind of, subtle variations. You have very rarely asked questions on that particular subtle variation. So remember, vague understanding, vague recollection of the meanings of the words suffice for solving the questions of GRE. So make an attempt to collect these families of words and then start working them for your benefit. Okay. Now the second thing, what kind of difficulty range of vocabulary that I should learn? I mean, as you will see from the questions, the GRE gives you an alternate chance for you to solve the question. Somebody is not so good at vocabulary, let's say. So is that the end of it? Should I not solve the question? Is that question not for me? Some of the questions are designed in such a way that in spite of your deficiency at vocabulary, you still can make an attempt to solve the question, because not all the words given in the question are very different. Some of the words are easy to recognize. They are most common words that you come across on a regular basis, and even the difficult words are not so difficult as because they are quite common words. If you are a good reader, you are a if you are a reader of a newspaper or journal, or at least some novels, or at least some blogs or articles, then you find these words not at all strange, not at all. Now, let us begin solving the question. Before we actually solve the question, I should tell you the approach to solve the questions of text completion. Text completion question, let's say I said fill in the blanks. Okay, so there is a blank given to you. There is a question with a blank or two blanks or three blanks. Okay, the first thing you should remember is don't look at the options. If you look at the options, it will confuse you, because if one odd word you find that you do not know, you feel that you may not solve that problem. Okay? Rather, what you should do is, even without looking at the answer choices, you should try understanding the sentence and try solving that question in your own words. Okay, summarize the answer that you would want in the blank in your own words. So try to simplify the sentence meaning and then try to guess what kind of a word is required into the blank. Which means you are actually trying to paraphrase the answer in your own words, in your mind. And then you approach the answer choices. Then you will find something that matches your expectation. Sometimes it would be easy if you find a word that matches with the expectation. Immediately you can pick that answer. And sometimes you may find it difficult because one odd word or two words or three words are not known to you, and therefore you might find it a little bit difficult. But there is a chance, if you are paraphrasing in your own words, there is a chance for you to get something which is similar to what you had thought about. Okay. So always it is better not looking at the answers first, but try to solve the question based on your understanding. Don't look at the answer choice at the beginning. Now the second step is read the sentence, understand the sentence, and try to paraphrase the answer in your own words. That means you are guessing what kind of an answer is required into the blank. Paraphrase the answer in your own words. Okay, this is the second step. The third step is you have to make use of positive, negative, and neutral shades of the words. When you are learning a word, you must also learn the positivity, negativity of that particular word. Let's say criticize. Criticize is a word which is negative, right? Praise. Praise is the word which is positive. So when you know whether positive word is required or negative word is required, that helps you in the process of elimination of the answer. Okay, so you have to adopt the process of elimination. Remember. So if you follow these simple steps, it will not be difficult. And of course, most of you have your own way of working out the question. So ultimately, you have to get it correct. That is the idea, basically. Okay. So firstly, let us try and attempt a few questions. Slowly, you will understand better. Okay. Let's look at the first question. It's a one blank question. So first, I'll do it for you. Then you can solve the next question. Okay. Now you can see a relative clause here. Sorry. So this question is asking, so what kind of a word I require in the blank? What kind of a narrator he is? Okay. So I need an adjective which talks about how the narrator is by presenting the reader with a clearly dashed narrator. So what kind of a narrator he is? Now he described the narrator in the sentence itself with the help of this word who. Whose interpretation of events is often open to question. So is this negative or positive? His interpretations are always open to question. That means questionable. interpretations are questionable. Positive or negative? It is negative, right? So I need a negative answer. Which options are negative in this? Most of you think that disinterested is negative. Disinterested is a positive word. Now there is a danger. Yes, Abhishek, correct. Yeah, I want all of you to change your settings to all panelists. Chat box. I very much appreciate your participation and your answering, but don't let the others look at your answers and respond similarly. Change your settings, please. Chat box settings to all panelists. Now there are two settings there: all panelists and attendees. You must change it to only all panelists. All right. Okay. Conscientious is a very strong positive word. Anvesh. What is conscience? Conscience is inner self. You know what is right, what is wrong. You assess that. Okay. You have a conscience. That means you are a good person. So conscientious. This I can eliminate because this is a positive word. I need a negative word there. Punctilious. That is also a positive word because that looks like the word punctual, right? Punctilious actually means perfect. Meticulous. This is also a positive word. Now the other three, out of the other three, there is one positive word. Can anyone tell? Unreliable is a negative word. Specious. Specious means fake. Specious means fake, Manasi. Specious, fake. Specious research, let's say. Specious research means fake research. Dubious, inauthentic, not genuine. Specious. Yes. No. Rian. Disinterested is a positive word. You may not agree with me because most of the times you use it in a positive way. Disinterested. Actually, disinterested means not lack of interest. Disinterested means you don't have any personal interest in something. It means you are impartial to something. You are neutral. That is disinterestedness. For example, a judge, a Supreme Court judge has to be disinterested. Which means he should have any interest in any of the cases. He should be objective. He cannot be subjective. Disinterested means impartial. Disinterested means neutral. So disinterested, yes, not influenced by any personal considerations or opinions. Very good. So the word that is left for is unreliable. Yes. So unreliable is the word we are looking for because these interpretations are often open to question. Matching with this description, unreliable. Therefore, this is correct. Now remember, it's not an easy task if you do not know some of the meanings. And of course, it is not even difficult also if you know what is to be found out. Okay, so you have to have a mix of these things. And even if you are not very good at vocabulary, don't get disheartened by it. Rather, you can try and attempt the question and try to get it correct in spite of not knowing some vocabulary. Okay? Unreliable is the right word here. Specious means fake or false. That is a very strong word, is it not? It is a strong negative word. Specious means fake. Open to question. Yes, open to question is something which is expressing the doubt. But if you look at the intensity of the negativity between unreliable and specious, specious is very strong. But the description is not that strong. Okay. So specious considering, yes. Conrad is the noun, Samyak. Conrad starts with capital letter, so it's a name of the person. That means it is the author's name. Okay, anything with capital letter, don't try to guess the meaning of that. It begins with a capital letter in the middle of the sentence, which means it's the name of the person. Okay. All right. Question number 2. Bhavya, we don't know whether first one is positive or second one is negative. But I know that they must be opposite. Is it not? If you take positive word in the first one, should be negative word in the second one. Yes, I am looking at your answers. Yeah, Darshan. Gyan. Nikhil. Bhavya. Remember, when do we use this ameliorate word? Ameliorate is to make things better, improve the situation, right? How can biographies improve the situation? Ameliorate. Ameliorate means things are falling on track. That means from worse to better. So let's say the situation is worse in the city. Therefore, they imposed 144 curfew. And after the things ameliorate, no, not glorify. The meaning of glorify comes with the word inflate. Inflation. What is the meaning of inflation in economic terms? The meaning is different, right? Inflate actually means expand. Expand to a greater extent. So inflate. Emulate means imitate. So are the biographies imitating their subject? So some of the biographies are doing something to the subject, and the others are doing something to their reputation. Definitely, I can eliminate C part. Out of the other two, biography. What is that? What does a biography written for? What is it written for? Biography means somebody's life story, right? Written by somebody. What do they do? How do they improve? What is improving a situation? They inflate. So that means they glorify them. Even though they don't have anything, they try to magnify their details and try to put them in a bigger perspective. That means they are magnifying them or inflating them. And what do the others do? They spoil the reputation, which means they are debunking the reputation. So it is option F. A and F are suitable here because vindicate means to leave somebody without punishing. That means not guilty. Not guilty means innocent. Yes, absolve of blame. That is vindication. Yes, to clear off accusation. Subjugate is surrender. The meaning of subjugate is surrender. The meaning of debunk is to disprove. So, in the context of biography, some people try to expand the glory of somebody to a larger extent. Some people spoil their reputation, debunk their reputation. De itself is a negative word, right? Demean, deplore, destroy, defile, derogatory, despise. D itself is a negative word. Similarly, sub is also a negative word. Sub means down. That is a root word. Subordinate, let's say. Somebody who is working under someone. Subordinate. Sub. Okay. So here the options are A and F, which are suitable in the context. Try and solve the next question. This is not difficult. Yeah, Nikhil, honestly, you're right. Correct. Abhishek, no. You have to get both the blanks answers correct. There are no half marks. Only when you get all the answers correct, then you get 1 point. Otherwise, you don't score 1 point. So this sentence says that his dash references were understood only by his closest allies. Now, which means if they are understood only by some people, are they difficult or easy? You accept that they are difficult, they are easy, everybody understands it, right? So how did you take superficial? Those of you who have taken superficial, why did you take that word? That is the first one to be eliminated, right? Superficial means very easy to understand. So this is the first one. So if you are working on the families of words, let us say, you can write down all the words in the family of difficult to understand. Then you can have words like these: esoteric, recondite, abstruse. So if you collect some 10-15 words which mean difficult to understand, the opposite is easy to understand. Let's say superficial doesn't mean blurry, dull. You are mistaken. Superficial means not deep. If something is not deep, that means you are only touching upon the surface. It should be easy, right? Akshat, his references were superficial. Then why only people close to him can understand? Everybody can understand if they are superficial. They are deeper. They are referring to some deeper things, subtle things. Then it will be difficult for others to understand. So superficial is the first answer to be eliminated. Now the first blank we need to have the word esoteric, which means something which is strange, difficult to understand. Esoteric. Okay. And the second one says the rest found the speech. Rest means who are the rest? Rest of the people. If it is understood only by some of his friends, what about the rest? Rest do not understand it at all. So which means rest found the speech incomprehensible. Which is abstruse. Again, abstract, abstruse refers to difficult to understand. Perspicuous means very clear. Wordy talks about full of words. Flowery. Verbose. So are we saying that he is verbose? Eclectic means selective. Is he selecting from various sources, Gauri? Is anything given in the sentence saying that he collected from various sources? Or he picked some things from one thing and some other things from some other things? When you don't have that, how can I take eclectic? Always remember, you have to go with the clues in the sentence. You can't take something from outside. You have to go with the clues given in the sentence. What are the clues given here? That it is understood only by his close friends. Ayush, I already wrote the meaning. Wordy means full of words, flowery. Suppose somebody is using too many metaphors, similes, words, okay, making it very, very beautiful, beautifully decorated with flower words, okay, like the flowery speeches of some people. So that is wordy. Wordy means full of sweet words. Abstruse means something which is difficult to understand. That is the exact meaning. Opposite of abstruse is simple, concrete. Abstract, concrete. Abstruse, concrete. Simple, complex. Okay. So remember, we need to understand the sentence. As per the sentence, the references are understood only by his close friends. Therefore, his references were difficult for others to understand. And clearly, we need something about understanding and difficult to understand. And we have only two words in the options, esoteric and abstruse. Question number 4. Ian, why should the second blank be negative? Because there is a contrast here. And he said the book was favorable initially. Within a short time, what happened to the book became negative. So if you read the first sentence, he's saying something positive. Reaction to the prince. This is given in italics. He's talking about the novel. So reaction to the book was initially favorable. But only dash. That is coming in the middle of two dashes. So that means, was it favorable? Profoundly favorable? If it is profoundly favorable, within a short time, what happened to the book? I have to tell something negative, right? So what is the negative word in this? Disfavor. These two are positive words. I'll tell the meaning later. Initially, the book was favorable, but within a short time, the book was not favorable. Not favorable means disfavor. So this is the contrast indicator, but means we need a negative word. We need a contrast word. Because he used positive word here, I need a negative word here. Unfavorable, which means the book has become disfavor within a short time. Therefore, ephemerally, the first blank. So for how much time was it favorable? Very short time. And therefore, ephemeral refers to temporarily. Ephemerally means temporarily. So the book was temporarily favorable. Within a short time, the book fell into widespread disfavor. We got two answers now. And look at the beginning of the third sentence, third blank. It was further dash. That means further means what? It is still dash. Okay. So that means whatever happened with the book within a short time continued later on also. Which means it was further negative happened to it. So which means I need a negative word here also. This is positive word emulated. These two are negative words. Now, which out of H or I should I take? Caricature means it is like a cartoon figure. Yes, cartoon figure. Now, even if you consider that cartoon to be criticism, this is very mild word, is it not? Caricature is a mild form of criticism. Denigrate. Look at this word D and nigger. Denigrate, which means insult severely. Now look at the description given here. He's saying political corruption, political and moral vices. What is a vice? That's an evil. Okay. So vices, bad things present in a person. So this book also contains lots of corrupt things and bad things in it. And therefore it is not caricatured, but it is denigrated. I need a serious word here. Because the description is also very strong, therefore I should go for a very strong word. Now you got the answers: ephemerally, disfavor, and denigrate. Okay. Now I'll give the meanings of the other words. Emulate. This word we are looking for the second time. Emulate means imitate. Emulate means to follow somebody, model someone. Emulate the example of somebody. Predilection is liking. He has a strong penchant. Penchant, predilection, liking. Ubiquity. Ubiquitous means something universal. Corruption is ubiquitous. Okay. Like corona is ubiquitous. That means it is present everywhere. Ubiquitous. Imperceptible means perception is something you understand. Imperceptible means unclear. Profound means very deep, very serious. Profound knowledge of something. Profound means very serious, very knowledgeable, very having a deeper knowledge of something. Profound means deep. Profound research, profound exploration of something. So profound means very having a deeper knowledge is called profound. Profundity, depth. But is this profoundly favorable? No. Was initially favorable. That means initially it was favorable for short period of time. So I need the word which means short period of time. Therefore, ephemerally is possible there. Okay. So this is a very big sentence. You have three blank questions. This one. If you get all the three correct, then you score 1 point. Okay. But I tell you, 3 blank question is easier than 1 blank question because you have lots of clues. So many clues. There is a contrast keyword, but further is another key. There is negative description in the last sentence. That is another key. There are many keywords, key indicators which help you getting to the right answer. Let's look at the next question. Very big one again. Tell me what word do we need in the first blank? Positive or negative? Most of you are saying negative. I'm sorry. We need a positive word. Because he was simultaneously rejected and accepted. Now, if you read the entire sentence, you will realize that Wagner was simultaneously rejected as a modernist. The operas and aesthetics were incomprehensible and untenable. Okay, look at this end. And Dash as a prophetic dramatist and composer whose works would revolutionize modern art. Now, is this not positive description? So, he was simultaneously rejected as a modernist and simultaneously he was Dash for revolutionizing the modern art. So will he be reprobated for revolutionizing modern art? Or will he be marginalized? These two are negative words. Marginalize means giving less importance to somebody. Reprobate means to strongly criticize somebody. But actually we need a positive word. Extolled, it means praise. So C is correct in the first blank. So simultaneously he was criticized for something and he was praised for some other thing. That is the concept in that. Now come to the second sentence. By the early 20th century, more than 10,000 books and articles had been written about him. In the 1930s and 1940s, the use of his works as propaganda for the Nazi movement and anti-German sentiment prevented the dash of his works outside his native land. So that means these books were confined only to the native land. They were not allowed outside his native land. So that means they were prevented from dash of his works outside his native land. What does that mean? That means they were not allowed to spread outside their own country. So spreading means dissemination. You can't have that mirror word in that context. Prevent the mirroring of his works outside. What is mirroring of the works? Outside his native land means they are not allowed to go outside. Damnation means again criticism. So the right word in this context is dissemination, which means spreading. So the anti-German sentiment prevented the spreading of his works outside his native land, contributing to the decline of the composer's international reputation. What happened because of not spreading outside? His reputation has gone down. Now look at the last part. Criticism of this period noticeably reflects commentators' dash for Wagner's nationalism and anti-Semitism. Now, if you are criticizing a book, what does that reflect about the commentators? Now, reflection is always equal thing, right? My pain reflects what? My pain reflects my suffering. My joy reflects what? My joy reflects my happiness. So, reflection is something exactly the same. So, criticism reflects what? Criticism reflects negativity. What is the negative word in the third blank? A strong negative word here is repugnance, criticism. Burlesque means comedy. It's like a satire. Comical satire is called burlesque. Adulation is praise. This is a positive word. So these two are negative words, though both mean criticism, but burlesque is actually a mild form of criticism. Like earlier we saw one word, cartoon, cartoonish, caricature. Now this is something similar to a satire. You know, we play satires with our friends. What is a satire? You play joke on your friend. It's not a serious criticism. You are not sarcastic. You are satirical. So a satire intends not to hurt a person or criticize severely. Repugnance is a strong criticism. Abhishek, mirroring does not match with outside his native land. Now what happened because of not allowing them outside the native land? His international reputation has not increased. It has decreased. So the question is, what happened to his works? They were used only within the country, not outside the country. Damnation is hell, Shantanu. But we say damn it, right? Damn it. So what does damn it means? So you're abusing something. So damnation is cursing something. You have to understand the significance of that word in the context. Damnation means hell. Damn it means you are cursing something. When you are cursing something, you are talking negative about something, which means you are criticizing. Mirroring is copying, yes, but we are not talking about printing, Abhishek. There is nothing about printing outside, printing or printing the books. If you are talking about that context, then I can say that. But this context is totally different. Nazi Germans used these books inside the country. Therefore, there was not a scope for this fellow to expand his, that's it. So context is important, remember. All right. Let us be a little quicker now solving the question. Next, question number 6. Now, this is another type of question. So far, we have seen 1 blank, 2 blanks, 3 blank questions. Now we'll see 1 blank, 2 answers. You have to select 2 answers. Now, let me give you the strategy here. So I need the answer here. I need the answer into the blank, right? So I need 2 answers to be picked from these 6 options. Which means, how will those 2 answers be? They must be synonyms, right? If I want 2 answers from this, they must be synonyms. So I need synonym pair into this. So normally, how many pairs do you expect in the exam to be given in this? At least 2. Because if he gives only 1 synonym pair, it will be a very easy question. So at least to make you a little work around the question, so he'll give at least 2 pairs of synonyms. So you have to develop your strategy around that point. So if you can identify those 2 synonym pairs, so first step is pair the words into 2 synonym pairs. Okay, this is the first step. Now you have to understand whether it is negative or positive here, and then directly you can select the positive pair or negative pair depending on the situation. Okay, so if negative pair is required, eliminate the positive pair. Positive pair is required, negative pair, eliminate negative pair. So what are the pairs here? Pronounced means clear. Is there any synonym for this one? Pronounced. Headstrong means somebody who is very arrogant. You don't have a synonym for headstrong here. Yes, you have intransigent. Somebody who is very adamant. Okay. Now these 2 are 1 pair. Incurable, intractable. What is the meaning of tract? Tract means path. You all know tractor. Tractor makes the paths. Okay. So tract. It plows the tracks. So tract means path. If something is intractable, what does that mean? You can't put it on the right path. Somebody who is spoiled. Say intractable brat. Unable to control. Yes. Incurable. Similarly. Something which you cannot control. And A and E is another pair. Headstrong and intransigent. Can a disease be headstrong? Can seizures be headstrong? What is the logic here? You're talking about a disease. Vahtahara syndrome. The seizures are often dash and resistant to anti-epileptic therapy, making control difficult. So if you cannot control, this is 1 pair. C and F is 1 pair. And A and E is another pair. So out of these 2 pairs, which of these is correct? You can't say seizures are headstrong. Headstrong is not the right word. So this pair is gone. So the other pair is correct. C and F are correct in this. Okay. Now somebody answered B. B means pronounced. Pronounced is an adjective. Pronounced means clear. It's not about pronunciation. Remember, pronounced means clear. I'll give an example. Always remember, you have to use the words in different contexts so as to remember the words. Okay. So how do we use this word pronounced? This is an adjective. Incongruous means dissimilar, Abhishek. You know congruency of triangles? What is the meaning of congruency in those triangles? That means each side is congruent to the other. Each side is equal to the other, right? Or similar to the other one. So incongruous means what? Opposite of that. So you have to understand the words from what is known about it. Similarly pronounced. Okay. The two political parties have pronounced differences between them. What is the meaning? That means very clear-cut differences between them. Pronounced means clear. Pronounced differences. Don't think that pronounced is about pronunciation. That is other meaning. But as an adjective, pronounced means very clear. Okay. So these two are free-floating words. They don't form a pair. So you can cancel them out easily. Something that does not form a pair is not my answer. Out of the two pairs that I formed, one pair must be answer. The other one is not my answer. Very clearly, this is talking about disease. And it is given that, the sentence it is given that the disease cannot be controlled. What do you call something that cannot be controlled? Incurable disease, intractable disease. Because you cannot put it on the right track, therefore it is intractable. Because it cannot be cured, it is incurable. These fit into that blank. Therefore, those are my answers, C and F. Let's go to the next question. Question number 7. These are not pair, this is not a pair question. This is, you need only one answer here. There are 5 options. If there are 5 options, you got to select only one answer. There are 6 options, you have to select 2 answers. Now tell me the answer. There was a time when his dash nature affected his work. But nowadays, he is much more calm and cautious. But means contrast. But indicates contrast. That means I need opposite word for calm and cautious into this blank. How do you know I need opposite word? Because there is a contrast keyword here, but. So what is the opposite of calm and cautious? Cautious means what? Careful. Opposite of cautious is careless. So I need something which is synonym of careless from these options. Give me one answer. Yes, correct. Ishika, correct. Sarang, correct. Darshan, correct. Manasi, correct. Nandini, correct. Yes, all of you correct. Very good. Impetuous means rash, without thinking, careless, like an impetuous driver, a rash driver. Pranjal, correct. So A is our option. Now let's look at the words and meanings. Vindictive means vengeful, vengeance. Do not confuse this vindictive word with vindicate. Vindictive means revenge, vengeful. Vindicate means to absolve. These are called confusing words. GRE normally gives questions around these kinds of words because it is very easy for anyone to get confused. Now in the previous question also we looked at one word, right? There is a word called pronounced. So it is very easy for us to get confused because that is a quite ordinary word. So you need to understand GRE asks you questions on the secondary meanings of the words also. Vindicate means to free from blame, absolve from blame, to free somebody from accusation. Now you all know that Supreme Court, High Court, what does it do? They do 2 things. either punish somebody or send somebody outside saying that you are not guilty. Now, if you punish somebody, you say they are convicted. They are sent out, they are called, it is called absolving or vindicating. To prove somebody not guilty is called vindicate. Vindictive means vengeful, revenge. Okay. Now look at the option D. What is the meaning of pedestrian? You all give me one word. A walker on the road is called pedestrian. But actually, there is another meaning for pedestrian. Can anyone tell that secondary meaning? Yes, Sarang, correct. Yes. Simple, ordinary, lacking inspiration, boring, dull, monotonous. Yes. For example, you can say somebody's performance, dance performance is very ordinary, nothing exciting, nothing extraordinary. Then you can say he has, yes, mundane, pedestrian performance, very routine, stereotyped, ordinary, cliche. Cliched means what? Monotonous, boring, the same old things. That is pedestrian. Pragmatic means practical, pragmatic approach, not theoretical, pragmatic, practical, utilitarian, functional, empirical, practical, experimental. So pragmatic is practical oriented. Now, what is the meaning of dissemble? Is it assemble, dissemble? Can anyone tell me what is dissembling? This comes from the word semble, semblance. You know the word resemblance. Resemble means what? Similarity of the appearance is called resemblance. Now, what is semblance then? Semblance is appearance. Now, what is dissemble? Dissemble is disguise, conceal, disguise, hiding the appearance. Okay. So, why did I explain all these words? To convey one point, to drive home the point that the GRE tests you on the close words, which are close in spelling, which are difficult to differentiate. So you got to give special attention and focus and learn these kinds of meanings and words. Okay. Now I'll tell you one word which comes closer to the option A also. Have you heard of the word impetus? The spelling goes like this, impetus. Impetus means stimulus, drive, the driving force, the motivation is called impetus. Fillip, stimulus, motivation, that is reinforcement, positive, impetus. Now look at the close spelling, impetuous, P-U-O-U-S. See how close they are. See, we can understand how anyone can easily be fooled by such words. Okay, so do not fall for such things. Be ready for such surprises also. Now let's go to the next question. Question number 8. Yeah, we need opposite words. The police chief tried to dash the fears. That means he might have tried to reduce the fears or increase the fears. We don't know. But what happened? But means contrast. He succeeded in dash them. That means if he tried to decrease the fears, he succeeded in increasing them. If he tried to decrease the fears, he succeeded in increasing them. So I need opposite words. So you have to do these questions in trial and error basis. For example, you take the word, normally fears or reduce fears kind of word, you can take this allay. Because the other two do not. Yes, precipitate also can be used. Precipitate means to speed up, enhance. So we have to Take allay. What is the opposite of allay? Allay means reduce. Opposite of allay is increase. What is the increase word in option blank 2? Augment. Yes. So option D are the answers. So the police chief tried to allay the fears, but he only succeeded in increasing them, augmenting them. Now let's look at the other words. Retrenchment. What is retrenchment? Removing the employees. Okay. So it's called retrenchment. Decrease in the manpower is called retrenchment, or decrease in the workforce is called retrenchment. Besmirch means to sully or taint or pollute or to insult. Besmirch, to spoil the reputation of somebody is besmirch. Digress means deviation. Precipitate, there are 2-3 meanings for precipitate. Precipitate means precipitation is rainfall, as you all know. Precipitation means rainfall. One other meaning of precipitate is some curd-like substance. Semi-solid curd-like substance is called precipitate. Now, precipitate as a verb means speed up. Okay, by adding catalyst to a chemical reaction, the reaction precipitates. We can precipitate the reaction. The economy precipitated by the actions taken by the government. Precipitate means to speed up, enhance. Right. Now let's go to the next question. Please type in the questions if you have any questions. Okay. But at the same time, we also have to maintain the pace of solving the question. Okay. We have so many classes, so many questions to cover. Let's make a good beginning so that you all have an idea about how to attack the question, how to understand the elements in the question, and also how to learn the meanings of the words also. Okay, so I'm giving you context here and there, explaining you the meaning, and I'm also giving you some prefixes, suffixes, root words which can help you in understanding the meanings. Okay, all right, let's go to the next one. Question number 9. That's a mammoth task, Samyak. I would really like to help you, but I don't know how. Should I take a screenshot of all the participants? Samyak? Okay, I'll do that. Trying the others. Samyak, I think I'm unable to do that. Okay, so first of all, let's do this one. Now, what is the keyword Nandini given here? Darshan, Nikhil, Kunjal, Manasi. What kind of a status those visual sketches have? What is the word that you can find in the context talking about the status? It is given that they are originally means previously. That doesn't mean that they are original. It says rough drafts. Rough drafts. Rough drafts of professional artists. So they are the rough drafts. Are the rough drafts? Now tell me which word matches with that rough draft. Yes. What kind of a status does a rough draft have? It has a provisional status. Yes, very good. So always go with the keyword in the sentence, okay? So the rough draft means it is provisional status. Now, was it retained or rejected by the amateur sketches? It is retained. It is given in the sentence that the provisional status of rough draft is retained by the amateur sketches. That means the rest of them also should be provisional, is it not? So if it is a provisional status that the amateur sketches also are retaining, then the responsibility of completion is what? Do they take the responsibility of completion if it is a provisional one? Because the provisional status is still retained, is it not? So that abrogates the responsibility of completion. That means I don't need to complete the task. So it does not endorse the responsibility of completion. It does not consummate the responsibility of completion. It negates, it cancels, it nullifies the responsibility of completion because I don't have to complete. Because they are retaining the same provisional status. They need not be completed. So it abrogates the responsibility of completion. I'm not responsible for completing them because I'm retaining the same provisional status in my amateur sketches also, which means abrogate the responsibility is the correct word here. So either I need to have ratifying the responsibility, but I have two words here going with a similar. These two answers, D and E, D and F. If I take this one, I can also take this one. So this is a different word, abrogate, negative word. So abrogate means, ab means away. There are so many words around with this root word, abnegate. We saw one word, absolve. Okay, abscond, abstruse. So the meaning of away comes in all these words. Abnegate means to relinquish, absolve, abscond, stay away from something, abstain, stay away from something. If you learn the root words, you can improve your vocabulary also. So do they have the responsibility or not have the responsibility? The status is retained, therefore the provisional status is maintained. Rough drafts are rough drafts, therefore they abrogate the responsibility of completion. Option E is correct. Option A is correct. Immutable means something that cannot be changed. Mutation means change, mute. Distinguished as an adjective means somebody who is famous, distinguished person, distinguished personality, distinguished guest. The actual meaning of distinguish is to see the differences also. But here it is an adjective, which means distinguished personality. Distinguished means famous. Ratify. You know who ratifies the ordinances in India? President of India should ratify. Ratifying means something officially endorsing something. Yes. Formal consent. Wonderful. Yeah. Next question. Question number 10. Now, you don't need to solve the first blank first. Wherever there is clue or keyword, try to solve that first. And then your task gets easier. Now, always go for simple clues like this. Now, here he is saying greatest novel, but also as the greatest novel. So I need a positive word here. And here, look at the words. Critics hailed it as dash. Hailed means what? Hailed means again praise. So I need a positive word here also. So eliminate all the negative words. Recant means cancel out. This is the negative word. Foment means to stir up or incite. This is also another negative word. So a positive word here is initiating. Now tribulation is suffering. This is the negative word. Contrivance is deception. This is also a negative word. Accomplishment. This is a positive word. Do you think these are difficult? If you know these are negative words, that's easy for us, right? Now, what kind of a difficulty is it? Now you have to get all the three questions blanks correct. What is the difficulty here? Difficulty is the contradiction you are looking at. While he was not recognized by himself as his most important work, but others recognize his novels as the greatest ones. He himself does not recognize, but the literary history recognizes his novels as great. Which means his consideration about his novels is different. The consideration of others about his novels is different. So where is the difference? Where is the difficulty? The difficulty is in the interpretation of the people about the novels written by Hawthorne. So what is the difficulty here? Interpretative difficulty. What kind of a problem it is posing for the literary people? What kind of a difficulty is it posing? This is the difficulty. Okay. Iconoclastic means what? Icon means image. Class means black. So blasting the images, rejecting the traditions, unorthodox, not traditional, going against the traditional, revolutionary, renegade, iconoclastic. Inadvertent means unintentional, inadvertently, unintentionally. Yes. Look at the next question. Question number 11. Pay attention to the adjectives. J.D. Salinger's lasting distinction. Lasting means permanent. That's a positive word. His merit is forever. Rests largely upon the enormous popularity of the Catcher in the Rye. Which means so it is quite popular. A dash favorite that continues to exert a dash influence on adolescent readers. So what kind of adolescent readers a half century after its first publication? Yes, first one is perennial because it is a lasting distinction. So this word lasting distinction and enormous popularity gives you the answer for the first and second one also. Indelible also means permanent. Permanent means something which is lasting forever. Now here comes the negative point. Though widely recognized as having attained the status of literary classic, even though it is widely recognized, what is the negative point here? It endured a history of dash and is still banned by some public libraries. Which means in the third blank we have a negative word. What is the negative word here? All three are negative, but what is suitable here? What is suitable with the rest of the description here? It is banned by some public libraries, schools, and parents' organization for its profanity, sexual themes, and alleged antisocial messages. So it was censored. Wonderful. All of you got the last one correct. And some of you got indelible, perennial correct. Remember, indelible means something which cannot be deleted. Del means delete, indeletable. Innocuous, you know the root word knock. Knock means noxious. Noxious is harmful. Innocuous means harmless. Perennial, N refers to years. Perennial means many years, permanent. So option C, B, and H. All right. Solid, stoic. Okay. Disparaging. Yes, yes. Aniket, I am explaining. Disparaging means strong criticism. You make disparaging remarks. A film actress made disparaging remarks against the rulers. Inchoate. Inchoate means something at the beginning stages of development. Okay. The development of ammunition, arms and ammunition and weapons in India is at the inchoate stage. Similarly, malapropism, that means something that is inappropriate. Appropriate. Mal means bad, negatively appropriate. Inappropriate, malapropism. Misnomer means a wrong word in the right place. Again, sir, that is similar to inappropriate word, misnomer. Okay. Question number 12. We need two answers. We have to select one pair out of the two pairs. This is one pair. This is another pair. Mitigate, alleviate means lessen. Exacerbate, aggravate means worsen. So What is your answer? AD or CE? These two anyway don't form a pair. BF. So our answer is A and D. Because even though it's a contradiction, his intentions were good and he wanted to help. But something negative happened here. So what happened to the problem? It increased. Therefore, exacerbate and aggravate is the right pair. So option A and D are correct. Very good. Almost all of you got it correct. Wonderful. Annul means nullify. Disseminate. Already we saw this word. Disseminate means spreading the information. Okay. Next question. I need a synonym for ideas in the blank. Great writers are expected to be interested in ideas. They should associate themselves with at least a few ideas. Because that is what is mentioned in the sentence. Whimsy is a fanciful thought. So nothing negative is said there. So this is negative word. This is a negative word. Paradigm is a model. It's not an idea, it's a model. Facts are not ideas. So what is left? Belief is an idea. Conviction is a belief. Belief is an idea. That should be our answer. Yeah, paradigm is a pattern. Yes. Sairam, correct. Darshan, paradigm is not a idea. Paradigm is a model. We are not talking about models. We need a synonym for ideas. Great writers are expected to be interested in ideas. Therefore, they should associate themselves with at least a few ideas. What is the expected word into the blank? What is the shadow word that you are looking for? You are looking for the shadow word ideas. So which word in the options match with ideas? Facts or not ideas? Ideas are in the brain. Whimsy means that is a negative word. Yes, conviction is a belief. Belief is in the brain, mind. You can't actually see. God is a belief. Can you see it? It's an idea. That's why idealism. What is idealism? Who is an idealist? Who believes something like, who has beliefs. Idealists, spiritualists, they are not pragmatists. Pragmatists are practical oriented persons. Somebody who believes convictions, conviction is a belief. Belief is an idea, right? Conviction is a belief. Fact is not a belief. Fact is something that is proven. Qualm is a fear. Fear cannot be an idea. It's a feeling. Paradigm is a model. A model is a pattern that is followed by corporations, let's say companies. Follow a model. That's a paradigm. Conviction is a belief. Belief is in the heart. Belief is in the mind. Belief doesn't exist outside. So idea. They should have convictions. They should have ideas. They should have beliefs. Whimsies. What is whimsies? Temporary fancies. Whimsical. Fanciful ideas. I mean, of course, whim is an idea, definitely, but that's a negative one. Nothing is said about negative here. Whims and fancies, temporary thoughts, something that fade away. Fads, notions. Okay. Next question. Again, there is a contradiction here. Contrast keyword. Please share it, Samyak. I'll announce that. You can share it on it. No problem. You can share it to all the attendees. I'll ask them to fill it. Yes, correct. Shantanu, correct. Abhishek, correct. Akshat, first one, correct. Nikhil, correct. Manasi, correct. Akshat, correct. So he wasn't worried. Means I need something negative here. What are you worried about? Some negative things, like what is the negative word here? This is a neutral word. This is a positive word. What negative word is gay? Opprobrium means disgrace, shame. So he was not worried about further shame from the college authorities, but privately he was working dash on ways to improve his behavior. So how is he working on the ways to improve his behavior? Not negatively, right? So he's now doing some positive work towards improving his behavior. So I need a positive word here. These are negative words. The positive. So I need something positive. Diligently, very industriously working. Diligent means industrious, hardworking. Petulant means irritation. Is he working ways improve his behavior irritatingly or disconsolately? What is disconsolate? Consolation means console somebody. Is to, yeah, something that can't be consoled is disconsolate. Sad. All right. Next question. We have last 10 minutes. All of you, Samyak has shared a form here. Please fill in the form, fill in your attendance so as to keep track. We need to share some resources with you, so we need to know who attended the class. So please cooperate with Samyak. Pulchritude means beauty. Shantanu. Pulchritude means beauty. You know the word aesthetics? That also refers to beauty of something. Study of beauty is called aesthetics. Pulchritude is also similar to something like beauty. Beautiful. Beauty. Pulchritude. Next. Yeah, just write your name. Don't worry about the ID. You will receive the ID later. You will receive your ID, IMS ID later. But for now, just whatever details you have, fill them. All right. If ID is compulsory, then your yes, IMS username. Yes, while signing in. Yes, Kuntal. Yeah, the answers so far, whoever has given, that is correct. Perfunctory. Perfunctory is superficial. Such dash attempts were not going to help in completing the dash task. It needed a conscientious effort. That means they need a lot of conscientious efforts. What kind of a work requires conscientious effort? Must be a strong positive word, right? Yes. Gargantuan means very mammoth task, huge task. Brazen means very evil, contemptuous. Gossamer is something very superficial, very light. You don't need conscientious efforts to solve a Gossamer task. Gossamer is very light and thin. Gargantuan means very big, huge, humongous, mammoth, elephantine, brobdingnarian, gigantic, giant, titanic, colossal, synonyms of it. First one is antediluvian means very ancient. Painstaking is hardworking. So, what kind of attempts are not helpful in completing a very great task? Small attempts, okay, which means perfunctory attempts. Perfunctory means superficial. नाम के वास्ते. Nominal, yes, without interest. Mind absent, body present. That is perfunctory. Question number 16. So we'll do 2 more questions for today and stop it. Please fill in the form. I don't know the difficulties, but somehow you try to fill the forms. Akshat, first word doesn't match, second and third, okay. Sairam, this word, all of you have taken scathing. Scathing is a word. Scathing is a word that is used in a different context. Scathing means something that is used in criticism. Scathing criticism. So there is nothing like scathing loss. Will there be a scathing loss? Scathing means acidulous, vitriolic. Yeah, steep loss. There will be a steep loss, steep downfall, steep loss. So which means precipitous loss. Not randomized loss. Randomized loss means here and there. If you are randomly losing something, you don't. That's not a cause of concern. When it is a cause of concern, there must be serious loss for you, which means precipitous loss. Precipitous means very steep, steep downfall, like the stock market fell precipitously. Now, one of the wheat's oldest adversaries. Adversaries means not subsidiaries. Adversaries are opponents. So is it a friend or foe? It's an enemy. So adversary is an enemy. So it is the wheat's oldest enemy. It is a fungus. It is a rust. Okay. So the pestilences, pestilence is the pest. Pest current incarnation is a dash and fast mutating strain. So its current form. What is the current form of that enemy fungus? Again, we need a negative word. Benign is a positive word. Benefit, benefitor. Yeah, it doesn't spread. So virulent means poisonous. So option I matches with it. Virulent. Look at the word virus. Virulent is poisonous. Trenchant means very sharp. Sarcastic. There is no sarcastic strain. Sarcastic strain. This doesn't match. Benign means positive word. Benign means something that is helpful, beneficial. Adversary is opponent. Precipitous means steep, like a steep downfall. Precipitous fall. Scathing means sharp, sharp criticism. Negative word only related to criticism. This is the word related to criticism. So we have so many words for criticism and praise. So make a list of some 25 to 30 words of criticism, 25 to 30 words of praise, some good words, and keep revising those words because they are quite often asked on GRE. Okay. All right. We'll work out a couple of easy questions before we wind up. Yeah. Last few questions. I need two answers, Aditya, Manasi. Two answers, Aditya. Aditya Shah. Nandini Gaikwad. Nandini, you are correct. So what are the two pairs here? Obstinate and stubborn, intransigent. This is one pair. Docile and subservient. This is another pair. CF is one pair, which means servant-like, obedient, submissive. Obstinate, intransigent. A and B means somebody who is does not compromise. Obstinate, intransigent. What is trans? Trans means change, transform, transition. Intransigent, something that cannot be changed. Intransigent, never change. Stubborn. So A and B are the right pair. Now remember, here it is given not. Is he an adamant person? He is not an abstinate person. So these are important. So if you miss out not, you're going to pick something wrong. All right. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Try to learn as many words as you can. We'll do the rest of the questions in the next class. Until then, bye-bye. Take care. Thank you very much. I'll share my number in the next class. Samyak. Surely. There is a link Aniket, there is a link sent in the messages. So please check in the messages. There will be a link. Click on that link. It opens a form. Fill that form. Aniket. Yeah, yeah. Abhishek, thank you very much. So nice.